If you're someone who values your intuition, this video might be uncomfortable to hear. Most people who say that they trust their intuition aren't actually trusting it. They're reacting to it. They're moving fast on a feeling. They're interpreting a sensation as certainty. They're calling intensity a signal. And then they're confused when their intuition starts contradicting itself. What was true yesterday is no longer feeling true today. What shifted from what moment to the next? Because intuition always feels real, but that doesn't mean that it's clean. If you've ever wondered why your intuition feels sharp sometimes and completely unreliable at others, there's a reason for that. Quick orientation first. We all have a different nervous system. These are patterns under pressure, what we call the 4 skins: warrior, shapeshifter, sage, and asset. All 4 skins have access to intuition, and it'll show up very differently depending on which skin you're particularly running the most. If you're curious which one you default to, there's a short Somatic Skins Quiz. It's linked below. Pause this video, take that, and then come back, and this will land a lot differently. All right, now let's talk about intuition. Intuition has a reputation for always being right. People talk about it as if it is a pure signal, a kind of inner oracle that, if listened to closely enough, it will always guide you to the truth. That belief causes more harm than intuition itself ever does. Because intuition doesn't fail when it's wrong, it fails when it's uncalibrated. Most people don't mistrust intuition because it's unreliable. They mistrust it because following it has cost them before and felt complicated. They have trusted a feeling and regretted the decision after. They acted on a knowing, and then that turned out actually to be fear. They sensed something very strongly and then were completely wrong in the outcome that they predicted. So they might stop listening altogether. They might continue to invest more and more in learning to listen deeper, or they might double down and insist that they were right anyways. All of those kind of interpretations miss the whole point, because intuition itself isn't truth. It is sensory data, raw, fast, pre-verbal data coming from your nervous system, from sensation, memory, pattern recognition, and relational signal, even from the field beyond your body. So like any data stream, it can be clean or it can be contaminated. And this is the part that can be tough to hear. If your system isn't clean and your body and mind isn't trained in specific ways, your intuition won't be clean either. When intuition leads people astray, it's because something else was contaminating the signal. Fear could have been masquerading as wisdom and caution. Attachment masquerades as insight and devotion. Old patterns masquerade as knowing. Someone else's emotion masquerades as your own signal. Highly sensitive and empathic people are especially vulnerable here because they're picking up so much and may not have the structure as a membrane to discern. But intensity of feeling or sensation does not mean accuracy. A strong signal isn't necessarily a true one. And this is why intuition without targeted practice becomes unreliable. And let's get something straight. I love my intuitives. I am an intuitive, and I take my training and emotional, energetic hygiene very sincerely, as do I my mind-body training. Because accuracy matters. We think that intuition will sharpen by trusting it more, but it doesn't. It sharpens the same way that any sensory skill sharpens, through repetition, feedback and correction, and it goes from gross motor and structure into subtle sensation. You sense something, you act, you observe the outcome, then you update your internal model. Over time, the nervous system learns the difference between resonance and reactivity, signal and noise, insight and impulse. Without that loop, intuition never really matures. It just gets louder. And louder intuition isn't better intuition. It's just often more confident confusion. That's why energetic hygiene matters. It isn't self-care, it's calibration. It's knowing when you're carrying something that isn't yours. It's discharging emotional residue instead of interpreting it. It's returning to baseline again and again before drawing conclusions. If you don't clear your system, you end up reading yesterday's data as if it's happening now. And that's how your intuition starts lying, or like I like to say, it's driving impaired. So here's the part that's no one really likes to admit. Intuition is also dangerous, especially in training without a sounding board. This does not mean that you need someone to agree with you or validate your feelings, but a real sounding board does something else entirely. It slows the signal down. It asks you where it showed up in the body. It helps you separate observation from interpretation. A sounding board will help you look for patterns over time, as well as train the nervous system for more capacity, so you don't have one-off hits here and there. This is where you train your intuition and treat it like science, not like arbitrary scripture. And most people don't want that. They don't want intuitive accountability. They want intuition to make them feel special or certain or safe. But your intuition doesn't remove risk. It will help you with training to remove noise, but you will still have to choose. You will still have to act. And sometimes you'll still be wrong. And that is not your intuition failing. That's reality of training a subtle skill. The people who trust their intuition, especially with real skin in the game, aren't the ones who believe in it the hardest. They're the ones who have tested it, cleaned it, questioned it, and learned where it breaks down. They do not follow intuition blindly because real outcomes, real risk is attached with intuitive decisions, and they understand that. They work with it as one of their skills. Intuition isn't something to blindly follow. It's something that you refine like any other skill until it becomes trustworthy. Without practice, hygiene, and feedback, intuition really isn't guiding you. It's simply confusing directionality. When you train those things, your intuition will become one of the most precise instruments you have. Not just because it's mystical, but because it's trained. That is exactly what excites me the most in the work that we have created within the Prestige, because we're working with intuition not as blind belief, not as accepted identity, but as trained capacity. We work with the body, your posture, your breath, your attention, your energy flow, and we move people through all the 4 skins on purpose. Structure, flow, focus, awareness. That work sometimes is awkward, it's often embarrassing, and it's incredibly revealing. Because when you feel how your nervous system, and therefore your trained intuition, actually organizes under pressure, your intuition stops being abstract. It becomes observable. And you learn to see where you're sensing clearly and reading the room, and when something else, usually fear conditioning, is driving. And that is what turns it into the true spidey sense that it can be. If this resonated, please do start with our orientation in the Somatic Skins Quiz linked below. It'll show you how your nervous system defaults under pressure, which will change how intuition, decision-making, and relationships and creative expression land. If you want to go deeper from there, our books, I'll link them below, will explore this in more detail. But honestly, the best thing that you can do is join us for a season within the Prestige. I'll link our website below to reach out to us directly. If something clicked while listening, we'd love to hear about it. You can continue the conversation, drop a comment below. And thanks for joining us. If you made it this far, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot. And I'll see you next time.